Guys, a little bird did tell me that CPU mining is becoming profitable, so I'm going to be building two 3900X rigs today to make a total of 10 dedicated CPU mining rigs. If you are unaware, the whole crypto mining thing started with CPUs. Bitcoin started originally as being CPU mineable. Yes, then it moved over to GPUs, and now it is dominated by the much hated ASIC miners like you see right there, although this is not for Bitcoin. That is an Antminer L3 Plus for the script algorithms such as Litecoin and Dogecoin. But CPUs do seem like they are making a comeback, as some coins such as Raptoreum, which is currently the most profitable coin to mine on a CPU, is using an algorithm that only CPUs are the most efficient on. So yes, there is a GPU miner available, but it is highly inefficient to use it, so it is not a good idea. You can do it to test if you want, but you're going to be spending a lot of power doing that. You are watching the Rabid Mining YouTube channel. Thank you for stopping by. Please consider hitting that subscribe button if you are a CPU miner, GPU miner, hard drive miner, ASIC miner. It doesn't matter. I got something for all of you. Guys, I need your help. Everyone head over to AMD's website, send them emails, do whatever you got to do, because I need them to send me a 3990X Threadripper so I can do some testing on it, because I am very curious how well that will do, and they are way too expensive for my budget. Gonna go through my build list here. So I am using Ryzen 3900X CPUs. I do have a couple 3950X CPUs, but they price to performance, the 3900X is your best bang for your buck. They're a lot harder to find now. People are starting to scalp CPUs, so keep on the lookout. I have been building complete rigs for only $650 Canadian. So insane, and at the current market, we are actually on par with profits of a 3080. So CPUs for a cheaper, complete build is making more than a more expensive GPU. I do prefer the X470 Gaming Plus Max motherboard. The reason I like this is because usually you can find it at a decent price. If you do want to do those higher overclock settings, this thing will support it. And again, if you don't want to, then it's all right. You can go with something cheaper like a B550, B450 or whatever if you want to run nice efficient settings. I do run efficiently across my CPUs, 3.6 gigahertz all-core overclocks at 1 volt. But on these two rigs, I'm going to try something different, do some power testing. I want to go 3.8 at 1 volt, see if it's stable or not, and what kind of hash to watt ratio I can hit once I do get these up and running. As for RAM, I really do love these G.Skill Flare X. This is CL14 RAM. Yes, it is 2 sticks of 8 gigabyte, giving me a total of 16 gigabytes. It's overkill for CPU mining, but this is the cheapest RAM I can find at 8.75 nanoseconds of CL14. If you do want to go with something cheaper like the CL16 Corsair Vengeance RGB Blue Pro, you can roll with this. You'll lose a little bit of performance, but nothing, you know, game changing. Depending where you live, this is probably a way better choice, where our CL14 RAM may be double or triple the price. These motherboard standoffs are 3D printed, and it's a free file you can find on Thingiverse. So if you do have a 3D printer, go check out Thingiverse. I can't remember the actual name of these, but they work 100% and they're free if you have all your own stuff. I know nobody sees a cooler here. A lot of people ask, what kind of cooler do you need? Don't you need something, you know, an AIO, something super expensive, something big and bulky like an NHD 15, which I do have on those two rigs there initially. But no, you do not. The stock Wraith Prism cooler that comes with the 3900X is just fine. It will keep your CPUs cool, especially for crypto mining. I do have my two motherboards all set up, one right there, one down there, and the first thing I am going to do is check these screws. I have had some in the past that have came loose, so always double check everything before you do start building. Everything is nice and tight. So next is CPU installation. These are used, so make sure you check everything out, make sure everything's wiped off clean. Make sure you have no bent pins or anything. This one does look good, so we're going to install it. You want to look for the little triangle right there in the corner of your actual CPU. If you turn to the other side, it's a little bit bigger. You can see the big triangle there. That will match up to the bottom left corner of your actual CPU slot on your motherboard, looking at it from here. So if you're looking at it from the side right here, RAM facing out, bottom left corner. Drop, drop, wiggle test, lock, lock. We now have two CPUs installed. One up there, one down here. And the reason I did do that little wiggle test, once it falls into place, you'll feel it, and then I just wiggle it to make sure all the pins are actually in place there. Here is our Wraith Prism cooler from AMD. This does come with all 3900X CPUs, as well as all their counterparts underneath them. Here you can see an L and an H. Always check this out. It comes in L as low mode, By default, always swap that to H. I put it in high, which does allow the RPM of this cooler to actually ramp up a bit more and help keep that CPU cool. On our actual heatsink where we contact the CPU, most of them, unless used, does come with pre-applied thermal paste. Now I highly recommend to wipe this off and use your own. This stuff can be fairly sticky, and if in the future you want to swap coolers or a CPU or something, you could literally rip your CPU right apart, but you can get around it by making sure your CPU is warm. So turn it on for a little while. In our case, we're mining with it, so it's always going to be warm. And then when you go to pull it off, undo all the straps, give it a little twist, and then it should be able to pull off. But people have ripped their CPUs apart by using this sticky thermal paste that it comes with, and then just ripping it right off thinking everything was good. Oh yeah, there we go, nice and clean. So all I did was simply just take a towel and wipe it off. Nothing, you don't need any high vapor type of alcohol, any water, nothing. You just wipe it off, it should come off pretty clean. As for thermal paste, I do use this Noctua NTH1. I do believe they have a newer one, NTH2 or something, but I got this with my NHD15 cooler, so I got a bunch of them, so we're all good to go, and this stuff works 100% fine. Kind of want to show you what's going on with the CPU. So unlike Intel's, which usually have a centralized chip in the middle, so you can put your little bead in there, Ryzen has two counterparts. So in between the R and the Y, just underneath it, and between the Z and the E. So right about here and here is where their chips are in the CPU. So I like to put a line right underneath Ryzen here, straight across to cover those two, and then obviously when you put the cooler on, it'll have a nice displacement, even it out. I can't really get the camera in there too close because there's not much room here, but hey, you know what, we're gonna try this as is. Let's see how this goes. A little shaky, come on. Oh, there we go, coming in. Oh yeah, look at that gobbledygook. Boom, oh yeah. Nice, nice, that looks pretty good. Some of you might not think so though. So I got both my CPUs here pasted up, one right there and the other one right here. So we're good to go to just start installing some coolers now. The stock cooler can be a bit of a pain to install. So I'm just gonna show you, there's two little grooves inside here, one on each side, one there and there. And if you are cockeyed a little bit, you could be sitting on top. And then we need to actually go to clamp it in. There's too much pressure and you could snap your clamp right off. So I'm gonna try to attempt to put this in. It's a little tough doing it in front of the camera, blocking everything, but hey, we're gonna see what we can do. So I'm gonna get this side in first. One side at a nice little angle here. There we go. So that clamp is in. Now we're just gonna kind of go in sideways. There we are, sitting down straight. I'm gonna give this a spin now. Spin like so. Here we are at the other side. Now we gotta get it clamped in here. We know the other side is on. We heard it come in. So now you're gonna push down with some pressure and then push down up here as well. And push this in. There, bam. See, we're in that easy. Now we got to do the clamp. This is the part I was talking about. This clamp right here could snap off if you're not in all the way, but we can see we are in. Everything went in good. So now we just got to clamp her down like so. Pressure from the top. We're in. That easy. See? Bam. Make sure she's locked in good. There we are. Our CPU cooler is now installed. Next up is installing our RAM. Now, if this is the first time you're using this motherboard or the first time you're using any motherboard when building this, I highly recommend you, whether you build CPUs all the time or rigs all the time, to check this book out, your manufacturer's book, because every brand does do it differently and it may use a different slot. Now, I have built a couple of these from time to time, and I do use the same motherboard across the board. So here it is, A1 and B1 are the farthest away. So instead of going from the inside out, you are going the farthest in when it comes to these motherboards. So we're running dual channel here. So this is A1 right here, and this is B1 right here. So I'm gonna be using these two slots when installing my RAM. DDR4 RAM does have a longer side and a shorter side. So you do have to insert it properly. If you don't, you will bend your pins. Now for this particular RAM, it's really easy. This label, G-Skill Flare, faces out away from the CPU, as you can even see in these ones. So as long as you line it up like this, bam, it will slide in, no problem. Again, be sure to line it up and make sure you are correct. If you get a different brand, it may be a little different, and you accidentally put it in the wrong side, your pins will all be bent up. Snap, 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 snap. RAM is now installed across both rigs. So now I'm going to install our hard drive. For this one, actually both of these, I'm going to be using M2 drives when usually I just use SSD regular drives. So I think I'm supposed to be using the bottom one down here. We'll check it out, see what happens. If not, we'll switch to the top one, but I believe it works better if you are in the bottom one. M2 drives are installed now. here and here, and it's much nicer because that eliminates the SATA cable coming out of your motherboard. That also eliminates the SATA coming out of your power supply, so it cleans this right up here. All you really need is your 24 pin for your motherboard and your 8 pin for your CPU. I got my power all hooked up here. Here's the 8 pin for the CPU, and our 24 pin for the motherboard is right there. Those are the only cables you need to have this thing running now long term. But initially, you will need your PCI Express 6+2 cable in order to set up your BIOS here so you can run headless. So initially, you will need to put in a GPU, which I got this old school Gigabyte. I think this is like a GTX 610 or 670 or something like that. 670 actually, I believe it is. I got a splitter right there going into our 8 pin power. So I just plug this in and I use this whenever I do set up a CPU mining rig. Looks like we're all set up on this one, ready to go. I am not going to hook the GPU or anything to this one because I do want to move that over to our test bench, because on these two rigs I am going to try 3.8 gigahertz at 1 volt, see if we are stable. So this one's going to stay here at those settings, and this one here I am going to move onto my test bench by my workstation. That way I can monitor power consumption, everything throughout the week. Okay guys, so I do have this one fired up here instead of this one because this one would not turn on. So it's leading me to two potential issues. One, the CPU is bad, or two, the motherboard is bad, or three, both of them are bad. I'm going to continue on with this video, setting up the BIOS for this one, 3.8 gigahertz at 1 volt. That way, you know, you guys can get all this set down, and then some other time I'll do a video on fixing this. So what I'm thinking is going on is I'm potentially going to swap the CPUs around to see if it does, you know, make this thing boot up or not. And if it doesn't, then it's potentially the motherboard. And vice versa, if this CPU fires up on this one, that'll again lead to this being the motherboard. Here we are on the BIOS. Now, first thing we do want to do is get rid of that power management thing. So we do not need the power switch anymore. So that is settings. We're going to go into advanced here and scroll down to power. Where are you at? Power, something to do with power management setup. And then we're going to go restore AC, restore after AC power loss. Right now you can see it's off. Once we turn that on, now every time you reboot your rig, turn your power supply off, on, lose power from a thunderstorm, whatever, this will automatically turn on by itself. Now we're going to have to go back. We're going to have to find our OC settings here. Back, down, OC. So here we are. We're going to find our all-core overclock. We're currently sitting at 3.8 by auto, but we do want to do this manually at 3.8. So again, bam, oh, too far. So you can see now, I'll move it off there. So we're at 38, so 3.8 gigahertz all core. Now we're going to go down till we find our actually first we're going to skip over XMP profile, disable. I find if you run your XMP profile, it becomes less efficient and you lose hash to watt ratio. So we're keeping that as default, running it stock on this RAM. Scrolling down till we do find our voltage settings, and here we can see CPU core voltage is at auto. We're going to manually override this, so override mode. And now we're going to scroll down until we do hit this down to 1 volt, up 1. So we are at 1 volt. There you go. So you can see 1 volt there, override mode. Everything's good. We're going to hit F10. That will save all the settings we just did. So restore after AC power loss is now on. CPU ratio went from auto to 38, so 3.8, and your CPU core voltage is 1.4. I'm going to make sure this does boot into HiveOS now, as we're using the M2 for the first time. HiveOS is loaded, good to go. I'm going to run to the PC, make sure this is detected. Rig 8 is detected in HiveOS with our GTX 670 GPU. So we're going to turn this off, pull the GPU out, and it should be booting all by itself. Okay, we're all shut off here. Now I can pull this power switch off, pull the GPU out, and this thing should boot on its own, no problem. Now, if you do run into issues of it not booting once you pull off a GPU, then all you have to do is go into your BIOS. Every manufacturer is different. Look for something that does say VGA detection, disable it, or boot through errors. One of the two, depending on the manufacturer, and it should run. Thanks for watching, guys. We're all ready to roll here. Please hit that subscribe button, thumbs up button, as well as bell notification. I got to figure out what's going on with this one. See you on the next one. Rabid out. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you haven't, please comment, subscribe, and like this video, as well as check out one of these other videos if you have not seen it yet. I do try to stream every Saturday and Sunday, so stay tuned for more future content.